Hey everybody, Jeff Toyster here. Excited to chat with you for just a few minutes today about why breaks are essential to great customer service. Now, this is relevant whether you work on the front line serving customers and you need a break yourself, or you have employees on your team and you need to make sure that they are recharging their batteries so that when they serve customers, they're at their very best. Now, this is based on this week's customer service tip of the week. So if you haven't signed up yet, make sure you go to toystersolutions.com/tips. It's totally free. One tip via email once per week helps you keep your customer service skills sharp. Now we'll get officially started in just about 1 minute. But before we do, I want to ask you, how do you like to recharge? What kind of things do you do to rejuvenate yourself, to rebuild your energy, to get back your mojo? Now, I have to admit one little thing to you, and that is I'm a little less energetic today than, or maybe less rested. I'm less rested today than I thought I would be when I planned this broadcast. I had hoped to be fresh off a nice, relaxing camping trip out in the desert, under the stars, beautiful sun, soaking up some rays, just an overnighter, and it got rained out. And the whole point of camping in the desert is sun and stars. And when there's clouds and rain, that doesn't make it fun. So I didn't go, and I thought I'd be recharged by now, and now I'm not. So I'm kind of edgy. So, but I do want to hear from you. If you are watching this live, you can leave a comment. I'm going to ask you to respond to a few things throughout, including this question: how do you recharge? And if you're watching the recording, leave a comment anyways. I go back and I review the comments. We can respond. We can keep the conversation going. We don't have to be live. Okay. So the big question for us is, why do we need to take breaks? And how are they so important to us in the world of customer service? And that's what we're going to answer today in the next 15 minutes. So this is based on, again, the customer service tip of the week. If you don't already subscribe, it's totally free. Just go to this website, sign up. You get one tip via email once per week and a lot of other goodies as well. So make sure you sign up. Let's talk about the importance of breaks. Now, it was probably a year or so ago, I did a little experiment with a customer service team. And I asked them to do one simple thing for me: look at their customer satisfaction ratings by time of day. And what they found was really, really fascinating, that in the afternoon, as fatigue was setting in, the same team had customer satisfaction ratings that was 6 percentage points lower than they were in the morning. Now, why is that? Same team, same types of issues. There wasn't a particular problem that showed up in the afternoon, but not in the morning. Everything was the same except for the time of day. And what that tells us is that fatigue sets in. As we get tired, it's harder to concentrate. It's harder to pay attention. It's harder to be nice, especially if you're tired. And there's a couple of reasons behind this. And I want to dive into this just a little bit, and then we'll talk about how to recharge. So if you're joining in live, one of the questions again that I asked you earlier, I'll put this back up. While I'm talking, feel free to share this one. How do you recharge? So I want you to think about that a little bit, but we'll get to that in a moment. I want to share with you one of the biggest challenges that we face in the world of customer service. And that is how we pay attention, how we focus our attention on the customers that we should be serving. And I'm taking a very complex brain system and I'm making it kind of simplified, if you will, to really point out two systems in our brain that coordinate and work together. One is what's called top-down attention or top-down focus. The other is bottom-up attention. Now, bottom-up attention, top-down attention, they work together, but they each have their own job. And once I explain this, I think you'll understand why breaks are so essential. So top down is our ability to really concentrate. That's what we use when we use active listening skills, when we're giving our full attention to the customer in front of us, when we're perhaps thinking of asking the right question or the correct solution to help a customer. That's all concentration. That's top down. Now, bottom up is the part of our brain that's wired to look out for distractions. And if you think about this, this used to be a really helpful thing. So, for example, if you're in the woods and you hear a bear coming up behind you, it's great that your brain interrupts whatever it was thinking about and says, hey, 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 bear. So it's important to note that the bottom up part of our brain interrupts and overrides the top down, at least temporarily. And it's designed to protect us from danger. So if you are about to step out into a busy street, you're just talking on your phone, you're not paying attention, you're concentrating on the phone call, that's top down. And all of a sudden you hear a car horn that jolts you into awareness. Oh, you almost got hit. That's bottom up. It's taking over your attention. Now there's a bit of a dance between top down and bottom up. And think about our world of customer service. I'm trying to pay attention to the customer in front of me, and I have distractions. I'm thinking about hunger. I'm thinking about I'm tired. I have coworkers perhaps around me. If you're in a contact center, even if you work at home, the average contact center agent has 7 different programs that they have to have open to navigate through, maybe on 2 monitors, sometimes even 3. All of those create bottom-up distractions. And it gets worse because we have our chat window open and we have internal messaging and our email notifications are popping up. And in the meantime, hey, our phone's going off and there's other things in our personal life that are telling us, pay attention. And we're saying, not now, I'm at work. All of those make it really difficult for top down to do its job, which is focus on the customer. So those two things work together, but just like a physical muscle, if you go to the gym and all you do is curls, after a while, your biceps get a little tired. That mechanism in your brain that regulates attention, the more you're interrupting top down, the more you have to tell bottom up, hey, I got this. I got to go back to this customer. The more you do that, the more tired your brain gets. And that is one of the biggest challenges that we have in customer service. Our customer service world is full of distractions. So all day long, our top down and our bottom up sides of our brains, they're competing with each other. Now, what do we do with this? What do we do with this information? Well, I'm going to get to that in just a moment, but I want to share with you what happens once our brain tires out. There's something that some psychologists call directed attention fatigue. And the symptoms line up with attention deficit disorder. They're different, but the symptoms look remarkably the same. And maybe you've experienced this on a day when you've been exhausted, you're trying to serve customers. You become more irritable. It's more difficult to pay attention. You find it difficult to stop or start and certainly complete projects. It's harder to listen. Our active listening skills become eroded the more fatigued we get. In fact, we have other instincts that kick in. For example, we have an instinct that causes us to naturally stop listening to a customer when we hear a very familiar story. And that instinct will jump in and say, I know what you need. And that's not a good thing. In service, we're supposed to listen to the customer. It's hard to control those instincts when we're fatigued. There's another natural instinct that we have when there's a customer who's really angry. Our natural instinct is to get defensive, to either argue back or just get away from them. It's called the fight or flight instinct. And in customer service, we learn to suppress that. We use our top-down concentration to suppress that. Take a deep breath, concentrate on helping the customer feel better. That instinct is very difficult to control when we're tired. When our brain is really exhausted, we're more likely to snap or just, I got to get rid of this customer. You know what? Why don't you leave? I have no things to help you today. It's difficult to control those natural instincts when we don't take a break. Now, here's the challenge around taking a break. One of the things that I observe customer service employees doing a lot, I do it myself, is even though we might be relieved of duty for a few minutes, maybe a lunch break, we don't actually take a break. All we do is shift from engaging our attention system in our work life to engaging our attention system in our personal life. What do we do when it's our break time? Well, we start going to social media. We bring out our phones again. We're chatting with people, checking Instagram. We're on Facebook. We're texting with people. In other words, nonstop attention between concentration and our attention warning system, our bottom-up attention. And so all of that doesn't actually give us a break at all. It doesn't refresh us. It doesn't recharge us. What it does is make us more tired. So when we come back from that break, now we're even more tired than we were at the beginning of the break. Isn't the idea of the break to make us feel rested? And so if we don't take the right breaks, we've only made the problem worse. So here's the question for you. I want to bring this back, which is, if you are tuning in either the live broadcast or you are tuning in via the recording, I want to know how you recharge, and I want to give you a few tips right now. One of the best things that you can do, and I think I saw this as a comment right here. Look at this right here, going for a walk. And listening to music can be very calming. It does depend on the type of music, but calming, soothing music, going for a walk, getting out in nature, Susan, well done, is one of the best things you can do to recharge. As well as, this is a double whammy right here, getting a good night's sleep, making sure we're getting enough rest so that we have the willpower to concentrate the next day. Excellent, excellent. Let me give you an example. This is how I recharge. I go out in nature as well. So Susan, I'm right there with you. I like to go to places where there's solitude, where I can be out away from people, away from my thoughts, away from noise, away from distraction, and just relax. Now, here's the amazing thing. Your subconscious brain is still working when you are out in nature and you're not thinking about anything in particular. And when your brain's working, often it not only repairs your attention, it also brings to light certain things you would never think of before. I was walking, this is a scene from Joshua Tree National Park in my home state of California. I was there a couple of weeks ago. It is absolutely beautiful. It's very serene. And I'm on this hike through this plain and then into this canyon, not thinking about anything in particular. And suddenly just some ideas come to me, some ideas that I can use at work. I wasn't thinking about them, but they came to me, some insights, some ahas. That's your brain just working in the background, just slowly doing its job. But when I was done with this hike, I felt incredibly rested, incredibly serene, and it was much easier to pay attention, and it was much easier to get things done. So the science it's still a little new on this, but what we're seeing so far is that getting outside, getting fresh air, removing distractions is a great way to pay attention and a great way to restore that part of your brain that you need to provide exceptional service. Now, nature is not always easy to get out into. So I'm going to give you a couple of very simple exercises you can use even if you don't have a lot of great access to nature. First exercise is just go for a walk anywhere. Even if you are in an urban environment, go for a walk. Try to eliminate all of distractions. And there's one simple exercise that restores your concentration. And that is, if you're walking in your neighborhood, try to notice one thing every day that you have never noticed before. And all this does is it causes you to really focus on your surroundings and take it all in. Now, I walk in my neighborhood daily, and the more walks I go on, the harder it is to see something I've never seen before. But you will discover things that you never imagined were there just by paying attention. So that's one very simple exercise. Here's a second one. Often we find ourselves waiting in line, cashier, maybe at the coffee shop, anywhere. And what do? First thing we're doing waiting in line, pull out the phone. We start scrolling social media. Again, all of those things that destroy our attention mechanism in our brain. You're going to feel that tug. Oh, I got to pull out the phone because I'm slightly bored. And what I'm going to encourage you to do is, instead of pulling out the phone, Put it back in your pocket and just observe the surroundings around you. No particular agenda, no particular goal, just observe around you. Watch the interactions with other people. And what happens when you do that, you start, again, seeing things you've never seen before, you've never noticed before, and you develop maybe a different sense of calmness. So that's why we need to take a break. That's how to take a break and a few resources or ideas for getting the best break possible. If you want to leave a comment or a question, please do. If you're tuning in live, I'll stick around for just another moment or so to answer a few questions. If you are watching this via a recording, leave a question or comment anyways. I'll be checking those and responding. Other people who are tuning in will do the same. We can keep the conversation going. Until then, I do want to remind you one thing, which is this came from this week's customer service tip of the week. It's a free weekly tip that's delivered to your email inbox. And if you don't subscribe already, just go to toystersolutions.com/tips. Signing up is easy, and I'll send you one tip a week to help you keep your customer service skills sharp. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you gained something, and we'll see you the next time.